Candy from our childhood was truly unique, featuring whimsical gum shapes and intensely sour flavors that sparked joy. Those delightful treats evoke strong feelings of nostalgia. Here's a look at the classic candies we wish were still around today. Bonkers candy embodied everything delightful about sweets, particularly the fun factor. If you grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, those quirky commercials featuring unassuming individuals being playfully knocked over by oversized fruit after tasting Bonkers are likely etched in your memory. While the premise was peculiar, it certainly left a lasting impression. These soft fruit and vanilla chews became immensely popular throughout the 1980s and 1990s, but eventually faced discontinuation, leaving fans heartbroken. However, there's a glimmer of hope for a Bonkers revival. In 2018, Leaf Brands announced their intention to resurrect this nostalgic treat. They not only acquired the rights to Bonkers, but also sought out the original inventor to gain insights into its production process. Revisiting the classic recipes and reformulating the machinery specifically designed for Bonkers, Leaf Brands is working diligently to bring back this beloved candy. While Bonkers isn't available on shelves just yet, the anticipation of its return has sparked excitement among candy enthusiasts, who fondly recall their unique flavor and fun-filled packaging. Candy buttons were never truly satisfying to eat. The real joy lay in the simple act of peeling the vibrant sugar dots from the paper. Unfortunately, this often resulted in consuming just as much paper as candy. After Necco went out of business in 2018, candy buttons vanished from shelves. Although the new owners have resumed production using the original equipment, these treats aren't as easy to find, and they lack the same nostalgic charm. If you're yearning for these retro delights, your best bet is to visit a specialty shop or a vintage candy store that stocks such nostalgic goodies. Bazooka Gum might have been tough and its flavor short-lived, but it was the quintessential treat for kids with pocket change after lunch. The initial burst of taste and the satisfying bubble blowing made the jaw soreness worthwhile. Adding to its charm were the fun comics inside, showcasing the escapades of the iconic Bazooka Joe and his signature eye patch, making this beloved candy a staple for children everywhere. Though this iconic gum has been around since the 1940s and can still be found in some stores, it now looks quite different.
Jerry, don't do that. That is so annoying.
Bazooka Joe.
The original red, white, and blue packaging has been swapped for softer pastel hues, and the beloved comics vanished in 2012. They've been replaced by puzzles and brain teasers, along with codes for unlocking online games. You likely remember Pop Rocks, the fizzy candy that delighted children but can feel harsh on adult teeth. First introduced in 1976, Pop Rocks quickly captured the market's attention, leading General Foods to create a spin-off called Space Dust. Unfortunately, this candy didn't quite reach the same heights of popularity. Space Dust was a finer, dustier take on Pop Rocks, but its unsettling appearance and the name's association with a drug left many parents wary. In an attempt to salvage its reputation, Space Dust was rebranded as Cosmic Candy, yet the original name's stigma lingered on. Although it initially generated a buzz, the excitement surrounding Space Dust ultimately fizzled out. Interestingly, the space theme has a solid backstory. The inventor of Pop Rocks, William Mitchell, also created Tang, the orange drink famously consumed by astronauts and later marketed to families. This connection adds a unique layer to the candy's history, intertwining it with the adventurous spirit of space exploration, even if Space Dust didn't quite blast off like its predecessor. For those who grew up in the 90s, Sparkle Cherry was undeniably the ultimate Laffy Taffy flavor. The combination of crunchy glitter sprinkles and the chewy, sweet taffy created an irresistible and enjoyable candy experience that remains memorable to this day.
Each chewy piece is exactly 50% Laffy and 50% Taffy.
Sadly, Sparkle Cherry Laffy Taffy has become a rare find in stores, despite the candy's continued popularity. While you can satisfy your cravings by ordering it in bulk online, it comes at a higher price than before. Currently, each stick of Sparkle Cherry Laffy Taffy costs about $2, proving that nostalgia often comes with a hefty price tag. The lollipops that doubled as actual whistles upon unwrapping. However, their joy was short-lived, as the holes quickly sealed up, rendering the whistle useless shortly after the candy met the tongue. This brief annoyance was a small victory for adults everywhere trying to enjoy some peace and quiet.
It's a lollipop with a on the top.
While the original Whistle Pops are no longer available, Chupa Chups has revived them as Melody Whistle Pops. Despite their nostalgic appeal, these treats aren't as easy to find as they once were. If you're determined to track them down, you might succeed, but a broader return would be even more welcome. PB Max candy bars had a brief yet memorable existence, hitting the market in 1989 and disappearing by 1990. Despite the somewhat irritating commercials, we were quick to overlook them in favor of this tasty delight. So what led to their downfall? Rumor has it that the family behind Mars, the parent company, held a disdain for peanut butter, which resulted in the product's abrupt removal despite its popularity. Whether or not that's the real story, it's a shame they didn't consider those of us who love the perfect blend of salty peanut butter, crunchy cookie bits, and rich chocolate coating. We still find ourselves reminiscing about that delectable combination.
PB Max, we mean peanut butter.
Astro Pops were a candy lover's dream, combining sweetness, longevity, and an impressively large size that seemed to rival a child's head. Their space-themed design only added to the allure. After all, what kid isn't fascinated by the cosmos? What many young fans didn't realize was the impressive origin story behind these iconic treats. Created in 1963 by former rocket scientists who decided to leave their aerospace careers behind, these innovators developed specialized equipment to craft the colorful, rocket-shaped lollipops. This shift from aerospace engineering to candy creation marked a significant transformation in their lives. Astro Pops enjoyed a long run after their debut, capturing the hearts of fans for decades. However, they were discontinued in 2004, leaving a nostalgic void for many. Fortunately, there's hope for those cravings. In 2010, a devoted fan acquired the rights to the beloved candy and painstakingly reconstructed the original manufacturing equipment. Today, Astro Pops are making a comeback in specialty candy shops, and with a bit of luck, they may soon be available to a wider audience, reigniting the joy they once brought to countless kids. In the early 90s, the ultimate test of bravery among friends was the Cry Baby Challenge. Advertised as a bubble gum with a sour punch that lasted about 40 seconds, it felt like an eternity when your cheeks were feeling the burn. If you could pop more than one in your mouth without flinching, you were the undisputed champion of the playground, though hiding any tears was essential. While kids today still relish the thrill of sour candies, Cry Baby has lost its reign as the top sour contender. Finding it in stores is a challenge, possibly because parents recall their own experiences of playground pain and are hesitant to let their children face the same sour ordeal. Despite its scarcity, the legacy of Cry Baby lives on in the memories of those daring enough to embrace its intensity. Garbage candy was a shining example of transparency in marketing, packaged in small plastic garbage cans as the name suggests. Lifting the lid revealed a mix of hard, powdery candy that offered a unique balance of tartness and sweetness, shaped like quirky items such as bottles, shoes, and even fish bones. While you can still find these treats in Canada, they aren't quite the same as the originals produced by Tops, the company also behind the iconic Garbage Pail Kids. The playful theme certainly resonated with fans, and we fondly remember those little cans. They served not only as candy containers, but also made for clever storage solutions for toys and trinkets. Although today we might fill them with paper clips, their charm and whimsy still bring a smile to our faces. Honestly, the allure of ouch. Bubblegum wasn't in the gum itself, as the flavor left much to be desired. Many kids tossed the gum aside right after unwrapping it. The real treasure was the packaging. Those distinctive tin containers resembled bandage boxes and quickly became a favorite for stashing everything from coins to pebbles and even real bandages. Occasionally, you could refill these tins with more flavorful bubblegum, like Hubba Bubba, but the iconic container is now a thing of the past. Though ouch, bubblegum is still available. The absence of that nostalgic tin has left many feeling disappointed and disconnected from its former charm. Peanut butter Oompas were essentially oversized morsels, combining rich peanut butter and chocolate, all enveloped in a colorful candy shell. Launched in 1971 alongside Scrunch, they were part of the original Willy Wonka candy line, which has since expanded to include beloved treats like Nerds and Everlasting Gobstoppers. Priced at just 10 cents, Oompas enjoyed a significant following until their discontinuation in 1982. Although some candies still bear the Oompa name, they lack the distinctive qualities of the original treat that so many fondly remember. For every child of the 90s, spotting that iconic paint can at a gas station counter meant trouble for their parents. If a kid had a dime in hand, they were definitely grabbing a piece of that bubblegum. Within moments, their mouth, lips, and even their fingers would be painted in vibrant colors. The appeal of this candy was all about its name, Splash, which perfectly captured its essence. Parents likely celebrated when tongue splashers were pulled from shelves, but a similar option still exists today, branded as Double Bubble Painters. Unfortunately, it lacks the charm of the original paint can packaging, making it feel less exciting and memorable. This peculiar crystal powder that transformed into gum with each chew was such a fleeting phenomenon that only a handful of people remember it. However, those who indulged in its bizarre charm will attest to its delightful taste. Many can even recall the thrill of attempting to chew an entire jug in one go. Nowadays, a similar product called Sneaky Stardust is available, but it simply doesn't compare. If enough of us rally for the return of Bubble Jug, perhaps it will grace store shelves once more. Until that day comes, we're left to cherish our nostalgic memories of this unique treat. There was a time when local drugstores showcased two types of candy cigarettes. One, a pink bubblegum wrapped in paper, and the other, a hard, chalky white treat. They were often displayed alongside bubblegum cigars and shredded bubblegum designed to resemble chewing tobacco, all crafted to make kids feel like adults while indulging their sweet tooth. However, that era ended with the rise of anti-smoking campaigns and research linking candy cigarettes to adult smoking habits. Although the US never fully implemented a ban on these nostalgic treats, their reputations suffered irreparable damage. Nowadays, only a handful of manufacturers still produce them, rebranding the once popular candy cigarettes as candy sticks. This shift marks a significant change in how these playful confections are perceived, moving away from their once prominent status to a more subdued existence in the candy aisle. While Runts remain a common sight on store shelves today, they have changed significantly since our childhood. The charming fruit shapes still evoke nostalgia, but true fans may notice that the flavors and shapes have evolved over the years. Originally, Runts featured classic flavors like orange, cherry, banana, strawberry, and lime. However, the lineup has seen shifts, with new additions such as apple and grape, while lime has sadly been discontinued. The essence of the original Runts may be fading, but their playful shapes continue to delight. Kids today lack the patience for Jawbusters, a candy that first hit the market in 1919. Unlike Willy Wonka's everlasting gobstoppers, these treats required a unique approach. You didn't chew or actively suck on them. Instead, you simply held them in your mouth until they either vanished or your cheek felt numb. With their flavor fading within about 5 minutes, you often forgot you had one in your mouth, resulting in some awkward, drooling moments. Has anyone ever truly reached the end of one of these seemingly eternal Jawbusters? We certainly didn't. Here's hoping they make a nostalgic comeback so we can finally find out what lies at the center of these legendary candies.